Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Special guest joining us in studio, Heart of the Heartlands Railroad Club, Larry Spahn. Now, this is Larry's second go-round. If you missed it, if you want to see our first interview that Larry and I sat down and he gave us marvelous information about the Corona Depot and the club, go to KOAMnewsnow.com. Larry, number one, thank you for your extended time this morning.
You're glad to be here.
Out of the Corona Depot and the Railroad Museum, you were telling me earlier about a new exhibit, if you will, a large collection that's been donated. Could you kind of let us in on maybe exactly what the exhibit is and who the donor is?
Yes, I can do that. He's a member of our club, and he has a very nice Santa Fe collection. His name's Dave Caldwell from Topeka, and he really liked what we do, and he wanted a place that he felt his collection would be appreciated and taken care of. So he got in touch with us. He paid for the whole move and everything.
Wow.
It's really something to see. We haven't got it all set up yet, but it'll hopefully by this weekend we will.
And the reason that Larry brings up this weekend is we've got the Big Kansas Tour that we're going to find out a little bit more later this week, but it encompasses Cherokee, Crawford, and Bourbon counties in southeast Kansas, and it just so happens that the Corona Depot and the Railroad Museum are located in Scammon, and you were telling us you're going to have some special hours for once the Big Kansas road trip begins, some special hours that people can come check out the museum and the depot.
Yes, we plan on being open 10 till 5 on those days that you're talking about, but hopefully we get enough volunteers. We're all volunteers. No one's paid in our group. We're trying to get things worked out. Maybe one of these days we'll be able to do that, but we have a lot of things for people to come and see, and we're also going to have train rides on July 11th.
Let's talk a little bit about the train ride, because it is something, especially if you're familiar with the area and the Corona Depot, this is something that people anticipate year-round. And I've had the privilege to take one of the rides before. How would you describe it to somebody that's maybe, I think about young kids these days, they've never probably been on a train.
You know, you're right. We've had newborn kids or children to people. I think one lady was 104, and it was the first time she ever rode a train. And it's gives people an opportunity to see what a train like's. Well, you know, if you want to go on Amtrak, they'll take you all over the United States, and it's kind of messed up now with this COVID deal, but they're going to get back to normal.
As far as the dates on the train ride, and then how do we secure a seat?
Okay, the tickets will be on sale at 9 o'clock on Saturday, June the 11th. The first train will leave at 10:30 for a 1 hour, 30 minutes out, 30 minutes back. And another one, same thing at 2:30. Tickets will be on sale at the depot. Like I said, I think they're $10 a piece.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's super cheap, and we can do that
especially
because
for the experience.
Oh yeah, and Watco, they provide the excuse me, the passenger cars, the train crew, and engines that make this possible. So we get a lot of support from local businesses and individuals. They come out and they like what we're doing, and we're serious about it. So we have an extensive railroad library. We have people come out and do research on books and things like that. So it's a real interesting place to be, and if you can catch us when we're there, usually we're working or doing something out there, so we're happy to show people around.
And so once again, that's the Corona Depot and the Historic Railway Museum. It's all in Scammon, Kansas. It's very, very easy to find. It's very well marked. You were talking about, when we catch you out at the depot and you're working around, you mentioned earlier, this is all volunteer work.
Yes.
You all do this for the love of the history of trains, locomotion. What does it mean to you to be a part of an organization like this? It truly is a labor of love.
It is, and we have a lot of great members that really, they extend themselves a lot. They do a lot of this on their own dime, so to speak, and they interact well with the public, and they want to share what we have, because the railroad heritage of this area is really something to be proud of. We like to share it too. We want to protect it.
When you talk about that heritage, I think, and I'm picking on the younger kids, I guess. They're going to go over probably 10 to 12 railroad crossings today alone in either a school bus or a vehicle. And they probably don't think about it because it's second nature to see crossbucks and lines everywhere. When you bring in a tour, specifically maybe it's school-age kids, how do you kind of sum up in a nutshell what the railroad means to our legacy?
You're covering a lot of area in a short time, but we make them aware. Basically, we want to impress the safety around the rails. Don't play around a railroad track. Do not try and get on a train that's moving. And we impress on them what the railroads have done for this country and continue to do. They can haul a ton of freight, I think 40 miles for 8 ounces of fuel or something like that. It's really neat compared to the trucks. We need trucking too.
Sure.
We need to get the commodities across the country and distributed the merchandise, whatever it needs to be. But I see a good future for the railroad. It continues to grow. The mergers continue to happen. The Kansas City Southern, they merged with the Canadian Pacific recently, so let's see if that works out.
Folks, I want you to keep that in mind. Every train crossing that you go over today, I want you to think of Larry Spahn. I want you to think of the Heart of the Heartlands Railroad Club, and I want you to visit the Carona Depot and the Railroad Museum that is in Scammon, Kansas. And like Larry said, part of this big Kansas road trip, that's the name of the event, but part of this big Kansas road trip is Larry and his crew are going to open it from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.?
Yes, and it's Carona, Kansas. It's a suburb of Scammon.
The burbs.
Yeah.
You're going to find yourself out in the burbs.
Yeah.
It is very well marked, though, and so easy to find. Larry, number one, thank you for your time. Number two, congratulations on this new collection. And I think more importantly, number three, thank you and Heart of the Heartlands Railroad Club for keeping this legacy essentially alive and being able for us to learn about it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Larry Spahn, Heart of the Heartlands Railroad Club, and we'll be back with more KOM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.